Hello, my fellow Virgin Islanders. Good afternoon. Welcome to the VIIA Townhall event, Insurance and You, preparing for hurricane season. I am Sandra Harty Gutierrez. I am the president of the Virgin Islands Insurance Association, hereafter referred to as the VIIA. With me today are the vice president of the VIIA, John Harper, and board member, Mark Bradell. Our special guest today is the director of the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation, Gwendolyn Hall Brady. The division is multifaceted and oversees other sectors, but today we are focusing only on insurance topics. So at the end of this presentation, we're going to have a question and answer period that follows. So please limit your questions to the insurance area. Thank you all for being here, and welcome to my fellow panelists and to you, the viewing audience. Today we're going to have a conversation about insurance, which we hope will assist you with many of your concerns. We shared and saw your pain after the last hurricane, and we wanted to lead the charge in assisting you to prepare for any crises, hurricanes or otherwise, for the future. So we have today prepared, and along with our guest, we hope to run through some of the areas of many concerns and frequently asked questions. So many of you might be asking, so who is the Virgin Islands Insurance Association? The Virgin Islands Insurance Association was initially formed over 40 years ago. Past presidents over the years have included Tammy Noel, Wayne Harty, and John Harper, to name a few. All of our current 22 members, which consists of agencies, brokers, adjusters, and insurance companies, are already well-known individually in the community to you daily for decades. All of our firms are licensed and regulated by the Division of Banking and Insurance and Financial Regulations. Our main goal as a combined team of insurance professionals is to educate you, the Virgin Islands community, in insurance matters and to be a support partner to you in a very visible way. As I said before, our mission and purpose is to educate the VI consumer on important insurance matters and to be a support with our community. We want to help you to navigate areas that affect the community that involves insurance, not just for hurricane concerns, but for everyday transactions. For example, with issues concerning the Bureau of Motor Vehicles or the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. We want to provide best practices among the VII members, which will enhance our interactions with you, the consumer. The VIIA and the Division of Banking and Financial Regulations have a shared interest between us to protect the community through regulations and our services. So without further ado, I will ask Director Brady to tell us a little bit about the role of the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation in the territory. Director Brady?
Good afternoon, and thank you so very much, President Harty Gutierrez. My name is Gwendolyn Hall Brady, and I am the Director of the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation within the Office of the Lieutenant Governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Allow me please to explain to you the role of the division and how we fit within the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. By Virgin Islands law, the Lieutenant Governor also serves as the Commissioner of Insurance. There's a Commissioner of Insurance in every state and every U.S. territory. What the Commissioner of Insurance does is to license and regulate insurance companies, insurance brokers, agents, solicitors, and adjusters. And not only to license them, but we also propose legislation. The Office of the Lieutenant Governor is also the area the Recorder of Deeds, many other areas that service you. But today, we're going to focus only on the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation. Our division is the administrative agency for the Commissioner of Insurance. It is our duty as a division to regulate the insurance industry and to protect consumer interests. President Harty Gutierrez talked to you about the works of educating the community and regulation. And what we do is, that's the side of it where we are protecting consumer interests. Those interests are best protected when you are aware of what your rights are as it relates to insurance. We greatly support the Virgin Islands Insurance Agents Association, and their efforts to ensure that products and services are made available to you. In closing, we're very proud to inform you that the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation was accredited by the National Association of Insurance Commissioners in December 2019. That accreditation allows us to put forth model laws, model rules and regulations that will advance the services of insurance in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We want you to have as many of the services, products and services that are made available stateside. Thank you so very much. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to serve you today.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Director Brady. So, yes, so the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulations is a support organization, support arm of the government that monitors and assists the public as well as the insurance professionals. They ensure that companies have the financial strength to withstand any crisis that they're insuring, and to ensure that they are strong enough that they're not going to go under after a hurricane. They also do the oversees our licensing and oversees the examinations that we take, and they act as a support for us as agents, brokers, and companies, that we can go to them with our questions and concerns in the same manner that you do go to them with questions and concerns. And they act as mediators, that they can work both sides of the coin and ensure that as a community that we're all working together. Okay, so for us, as I said, after the hurricanes, and we saw where there was a need to ensure that you understand your policies and that you understand what it is that you're getting as coverages for any crisis that will come your way. I'm going to ask Mark to speak to you a little bit about one of the first things that you should do in speaking to your agents and brokers and insurance companies about policy coverages and reviewing your insurance. Mark?
Hi, Sandra. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you.
We had discussed the question of valuations comes up every day in every conversation with clients, and it comes down to what is the proper replacement cost value of the home. What is it going to cost to rebuild it? That's a different number than what you paid for it, or what the market value is today. There's no magic trick or formula to figure this out. It's consultation. Consultation with licensed contractors, appraisers. It's also consultation with your, the numbers are out there. People can tell you what it's going to cost to repair something. But what you can't do is just leave it go and figure that it's going to take care of itself. So, every year when you renew your policy, or when you're taking out a new policy, it's something that you should discuss with your agent or your broker as you're going forward.
Make sure that you all understand as well is that when you're building and you're doing renovations, I know that we're all prone to use family and friends to help us. Usually very handy, especially here in the islands. Everybody's a jack of all trades. However, please be aware that building codes are very important. And after this last hurricane season, there were changes, very important changes, that will affect your homes and your buildings. So if you are making any renovations and any extensions, be sure to get your plans looked at and inspected, your finished work inspected by licensed professionals. Okay, that's extremely important. And do not overlook your contents, your jewelry, your fine arts, your high-valued furnishings. Be sure that you're getting appraisals to also cover those. Make sure that those are properly covered. Another area that we find to be was of importance was that you need to have your important documents in order. You need to secure them. All your policies and your own personal IDs, your recent inventory of your equipment and furnishings, your photos should be kept in a safe and accessible place. Okay? If you lose your policy, most likely your insurance company or agent will be able to help you to replace that, as we, have disaster preparedness plans and we have backup cloud protection or other. But you have to be also mindful of your own personal possessions and your own personal documents. Make sure that you're securing them in a waterproof environment as well as fireproof. Please don't overlook the fact that we do have fires that can pop up at any time, and a fire can do just as much destruction to your property as any earthquake, flood, or hurricanes. Director Brady, your website is a very helpful tool in assisting consumers and the insureds. Would you mind telling them about some of the tools you have on your website as well?
Thank you very much, Association President Hartley Gutierrez. The Office of the Lieutenant Governor maintains a website, and on that website, the address being ltg.gov.bi. Again, ltg.gov.bi. We encourage you to go to the website to download as much of the educational materials as possible. As it relates to the topic that President Gutierrez just mentioned, we want you to download the home inventory checklist for hurricane preparedness. One of the major problems that people face, policyholders face, after a major disaster such as the ones we experienced with Hurricane Irma and Maria, was trying to recall the contents in their home. What all did I have? What was damaged? And so this particular brochure, the Home Inventory Checklist, provides you tips for making your home inventory. It also has a listing per room. And if you need to make copies, you can feel very free to do so. But list all of the information and all of the properties, the contents in your home. Have them there. Not only do we encourage you to make a listing, but also to take photographs. And remember, just to add a little bit back to what we talked to you about before, the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation is there to assist you. If you have any problem with working with an agent, with a company, an insurance company, contact the division and we will assist you with that. Our goal is to make sure that we conduct both financial analysis and financial examinations of insurance companies. We want those companies that you are purchasing your coverage from to be solvent. And we do understand things happen, and because of the situation that happened, and we'll discuss that later, after the storms in 2017, we did have one company to become insolvent. But do know that company, Real Legacy Assurance Company, had paid 90% of its claims prior to insolvency. But it was the occurrence of Maria 13 days after Irma that caused a problem with the company. But meanwhile, we encourage you to remain insured. Purchase your insurance, maintain it, know the contents in your home, Don't get just dwelling and coverage. Be sure to get contents coverage as well. Fully insure your property. Thank you so much, President Gutierrez.
Thank you, Director. Thank you very much. The situation about homes and insuring your homes, we can't speak enough about that. What we see sometimes happening is that insureds have paid off their mortgages, and immediately that they pay off their mortgages, they want to cancel their insurance. That is not a good idea. That is your life investment, and before that, the bank had a financial interest in your property. Now guess what? After you've paid your mortgage off, you have the entire financial interest in your property. So you need to make sure that you're protecting your life savings. And mostly, this is what happens to older residents, and they're the least likely who can afford to lose their entire investment. Okay, so be sure that you're doing that. After the hurricane, and it was a sad time. It was a heartbreaking time for us. We had never gone through that type of scenario before, where we had 2 Cat 5 hurricanes back to back. And as I said, you know, we had everyone with just reeling from the effects of the storm. And we learned a lot of lessons. We came away from that with a lot of, you know, how do we make sure that certain things don't happen in the future. And this is one of the reasons that we're trying to do this outreach program now, to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. So one of the lessons that we did learn, let's talk about what we learned after the double hurricanes. We learned that we need to be prepared for the worst. Even if you do expect the best, you want to prepare for the worst. One of the things that we have to be sure that we have, which was a problem for us for a while, because we had never experienced that situation before, where we had such a long, lengthy period of just waiting and waiting and waiting for things to get back in shape. So communication. It's extremely important that you have at the ready alternative means of communication. We're talking about if your cell phone goes down, maybe you want to have a second inexpensive phone with a different provider network than your main one. Maybe you want to have a satellite phone. Make sure that you have batteries ready to support your computers and other means of communications. Your generator parts. Sometimes people had generators but found that their generators were missing a part, and then they had to wait for that to be shipped when there was nothing running, no shipments coming in, so that added to the confusion that was there. So you want to make sure that you test your generators in advance and make sure that they're running. Carbon monoxide detectors, because generators can create problems, and we want to make sure that no one dies from carbon monoxide inhalation. All right. Director Brady had some ideas about what she found after the last set of hurricanes.
Yes, what I want to stress in terms of what we learned, lessons learned, is that there is a need in our community to quieten title in property. What do I mean by that? In many instances after Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Maria, some persons who sought assistance from SBA, for example, thought that payment of a WAPA bill or payment of property taxes could entitle them to be able to receive assistance or apply for it and receive it. But do know that there needs to be title, proof of ownership in the property in order for you to be able to obtain assistance from FEMA and SBA. That's one of the issues that we learned. Another is the issue of underinsurance. Many persons did not understand that issue. It was an issue that caused many problems in our community. What the division has done, we'll put together a brochure on underinsurance. That too is one of the documents we encourage you to retrieve from our website, again, ltg.gov.vi, and read it thoroughly. This goes to communicating with your agent and broker. What we want you to do to avoid being underinsured is to insure at least 80% of the replacement cost value of your property. That can be obtained as our recommendation by the division by utilizing a recent appraisal of your property. 80% of it, the replacement cost value. And when you get that appraisal, you're not getting the market value because you're not trying to sell the property. You only want the replacement cost value to avoid being underinsured. If you need to increase the coverage this year when you renew your coverage, let your agent or broker know that you've gotten an appraisal, or you may have had improvements made to the property. You did an addition, maybe you added a deck, made some other changes, added a bedroom. Whatever those changes were, sit down and communicate with your agent. We encourage you to utilize your professional insurance agent. Again, they are licensed by the Commissioner of Insurance, and tell them about your property. Tell them what you're trying to achieve, and I ask them to direct you in that area. Another way of communicating is communication between the industry and consumers and with the regulator. What we did is we have focused primarily on public education, and we have asked those licensees, the insurance companies and insurance agents and brokers, to do the same. We have also asked, as a condition for licensing by any insurance company seeking to do business in the territory, that they provide the division with a disaster response plan. We want to be assured that our companies are ready to assist you in the event of a disaster and that they can hit the ground running. We will also continue to use and request identification, photo identification, to be presented to you by the insurance adjuster. In closing, do know that if you are going to engage a public adjuster to assist you in the event we have a storm, it remains the same. No more than 5% would be the cost. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Brady. One of the things that, one of the assets that's sometimes overlooked are vehicles. Your vehicles are also important assets, and there's a lot of value in your vehicles, and we found that after the hurricane, we had people coming in asking if they had coverage for the vehicle that got smashed by a tree or water came in to destroy the vehicle. And we were sorry to tell them that no, you had only the minimum liability, third-party liability on your vehicle. So please do not overlook your vehicle when you're getting prepared for a hurricane or a major disaster. You can purchase comprehensive coverage which will protect them from flood, hurricane, fire, theft, etc. And secure them away from trees during the hurricane. Okay, the trees are gonna fall on the vehicle. I mean, we saw that happen so many times. The trees will also fall on your houses. So one of the things you want to be able to do prior to the hurricane season is cut away large trees from your buildings. Please do so. And we saw that from recent happenings in Laura in the States, that there were a lot of downed trees, although that storm, when it went through there, was nothing compared to the Cat 5 storms that we saw here in 2017. That did so much damage in the States from fallen trees that, you know, really and truly we have to learn from that lesson, okay? We have to learn from that lesson. I'm gonna ask John to speak to us a little bit about your responsibility as an insured.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. And thank you for the opportunity to present this afternoon. This is a great opportunity to share ideas and to encourage everyone to take an interest in their insurance coverage and review their coverage. Sandra asked me to make a couple of comments on the insurer's role in this whole process, and the policyholder's role is critical. We want our clients, all of our clients, of the members of the Virgin Islands Insurance Association, to understand your coverage. So I'll just go through a brief list. Number one, review the property that you have, review the values. There's been some discussion this afternoon on the valuation of a home. There's been some discussion on the importance of reviewing values of personal property that you have. Review everything that's important to you that you want to insure, and have a professional assist you in establishing a value for that. And first of all, I just identify what all that you want to insure, and then establish values for all of that. And as you're reviewing your coverage, which is very important, pull your policy out, take a look at it, review it. Somebody made a comment earlier in the Facebook live feed about not understanding, difficulty understanding policy verbiage. That's what your insurance professional is here for. Go to see your agent, go to see your broker, go to see your insurance company, and bring your policy and say, I'd like to review that. There's not much more that we enjoy, I can tell you, as an insurance professional in the Virgin Islands, that we enjoy than reviewing coverage. We want to help people understand the coverage that they have. And a client that takes that interest is going to be much better off in the long run. One other thing to look at in your policy as you're reviewing it is in terms of obligations in and around an event that happens. Before a storm, make sure that you have your shutters up. Some policies will require that you have your shutters up, or could potentially have a penalty relating to the amount of the deductible. So make sure that you've complied with the requirements in your policy, and protect your property, obviously. Make sure your shutters are up, make sure your property is protected ahead of time, and prepare yourself. My wife and I always keep some plastic bags around when a storm is coming, so that if we need to bag up some additional things, if we think we're going to lose part of the roof, we'll do that. So have some supplies nearby so that you can make some last minute protections. And then, God forbid something does happen to your property, you have an obligation under the policy to mitigate further damage. If you lose a piece of your roof and you can easily patch that, so to protect from further damage. As we know, in an island environment like this, when there's a serious event, it takes some time for professionals to get out and help you secure your property. Do what you can. Be safe, of course, but look for a professional to help you, if you can, in protecting your property. And then make a record of what happened. Take some pictures, take some videos if you can of what happened. Again, in a serious event like the Irma Maria situation we had in 2017, the local resources are really pushed to the limit, and it may take you a little bit of time to get in to see your agent, your insurance company. So take records and go ahead and start to do some cleanup, but record what happened. That's the main thing. So preparing, protect, and then record afterwards. Thank you, Sandra.
John, thank you so much for that. But are there any particular lessons that you recall learning from the last hurricanes that came through here that you want to share with us?
I learned a lot of lessons through the hurricanes of Maria and Irma, and back to Hurricane Hugo, actually. But most of them have been spoken to that I can think of. Let me think. You want to get in touch with your insurance agent or broker as soon as possible. Many insurance agent, brokers, and insurance companies have multiple ways of contacting them. They'll have an internet presence. There should be a phone number. Get this information ahead of time, and hopefully, again, have good communication with your insurance agent and broker ahead of time, as well as connecting afterwards.
Thank you, John. Mark, do you have anything that you want to share about any experiences that you learned, any unique situations that you found yourself in that you want to share with the public after the hurricanes?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I would say when it comes to claims, is you have to be involved as the owner of the property, the owner of the policy. I, as your agent or your broker or the insurance company, we can't settle your claim for you. We can help, we can assist, we can make the insurance company make offers that you can accept or decline and negotiate. But at the end of the day, you're the only person that can sign and settle a claim, which means you need to be involved. And that could be getting quotes or estimates, keeping track of expenses, Document every single thing that you do. You take something out, take a picture of it. You bring something in, take a picture of it. You go to Home Depot, you buy something, keep your receipts, document everything that you do, process going. When I found after the hurricanes that when a client and the adjuster, the insurance company stopped talking, things quickly fell apart. Your agent and broker can help you in that regard, can work with the insurance company, can work with you to make sure that people are talking and communicating and working this problem out. This is difficult. It's complicated. It's emotional. It's gut-wrenching. It's your home. It's where you live. It's also, for most people, the single largest financial asset they'll own or will ever own. And so it's difficult. It's hard to take emotion out of it, but you have to stay with it. Work with your agent, work with your broker. You're much better as a team than you are by yourself. It's tough work. It's tough work. Everybody wants it to happen a lot sooner than it does. Unfortunately, we live where we live. People aren't, when Irma went through Florida, there were trucks lined up on the Georgia border to come through as soon as the hurricane went through. Obviously, that isn't the case here. They had to ship them by barge many, many months later. So be prepared, take care of yourself, document everything. If you have questions about what's covered or what's not, or talk to your broker, they know the answer. You want to be a team here. Like I just said, you're better together than you are apart. Knowledge in this instance is power. And your agent knows the policy just as well as the insurance company does. Use that asset to your advantage.
For me, my experience and my takeaway, and we keep coming back to the same thing, but guess what? It happened to me. I was underinsured. I confess. But here's what the situation is. You insure your house 10 years ago at one value, and you think you're insuring it at 80% of your values of the replacement cost, and then you never revisit it. Even if you made no changes during those 10 years, guess what? Inflation happens. We're in the Virgin Islands. Building costs here are different. They go up. So if you're not going back and revisiting your values over time, you'll be caught in that situation. Because guess what? It's a little technicality, but here, it's not at the time of insurance that it's going to be a problem. It's a time of claim. So you insure it today at 80%, but at the time of claim, if you're below 80%, then you have a problem. So you want to look at those values that you're going in with. You might not necessarily want it. We're telling you the minimum is 80% of the rebuild cost, but it doesn't have to be that. It actually should be a little bit higher because you need a buffer. You need a buffer between that minimum cost and what it could be at a later date. And you need to revisit that every few years, check with your building department to see how construction costs are going. Those are the things that you need to be doing. So that was my takeaway. It happened to me. Thank you. So, Director Brady, what about you? Was there anything personal that you want to share with the public about your takeaway?
What I want to do to let you know that there wasn't any particular island that experienced the most. We all had problems. St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, Water Island. But some of the common denominators that we saw, in addition to the underinsurance issue, and what President Gutierrez just said is so true. You may not have made any additions to your property, but the cost of repairs increases. But one of the things that we saw here was in the area of selecting a contractor. We had a shortage. We did have a shortage of contractors. But please, we encourage you, check to make sure your contractor is licensed. Make sure that you are working with a licensed contractor. Many persons experience problems whereby they entered into an agreement, whether written or not, with the contractor, but that contractor also had several other properties that they were working on, and many properties went uncompleted. In addition to underinsurance, where many persons were not properly insured, many people did not understand the fact that you can always increase your coverage, even after you have renewed it. And I'm sure that President Gutierrez and President Hopper from Marsh & Sterling can tell you about that. If you realize that you need to add or increase that coverage, do so, because it is better to be over or even almost 100%. And some jurisdictions do have that requirement, like the state of Virginia, that you must fully insure. We don't have that here. But to protect yourselves, if you, after hearing us today, realize that you need to increase your coverage, not because you made any addition, please do so. Not because you made any change to your property, do so. But I want to also add a little bit of what we learned that you should be doing after you've experienced a disaster. Do secure your property to mitigate further damages. We need you to do that. Secure your damaged property to prevent further destruction of it. We talked about taking photos before a storm. Take them afterwards too. Have your own photos. The other, there must be timely filing of a claim. That was a problem territory-wide. You cannot come in year 2020 and want to file a claim for Hurricane Irma and Maria, which occurred in 2017. Because of the fact that the adjuster there must be some current evidence of damages there. And then two, request a claim number when you do file that claim timely. And there's a difference between an independent adjuster and a public adjuster. The independent adjuster is working on behalf of the insurance company. The public adjuster is retained by you, and as I mentioned, that's 5% is all that you are to pay them. Do request a copy of the adjuster's worksheet. Maintain your records. Have a file in your home. If you file that claim, you have the claim number. Come to the division, and I am so proud to say there were many policyholders who came to our division with full files. They kept great records. Keep those records even after your claim has been paid. Then you receive your claim settlement. If you have any problem in the process, do contact the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation. We want to work with you. But I cannot emphasize more as a means of lessons learned than timely filing of your claim. Timely filing of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Director. John, do you want to talk a little bit about the association and our members?
Sure. We have, I believe, somewhere in the low 20s, 21, 22 members.
22,
we are made up of insurance agents, brokers, and domestic, which means local insurance companies in the Virgin Islands, as well as claims adjusters. We've got a real great cross-section of individuals, some wonderful professionals. I've been involved with the association for about 25 years, I believe, and the association has just experienced a resurgence, and we're getting together and getting more active in terms of getting information out to the public, and to get together with our virtually, of course, these days, but to get together virtually with our various members and discuss the issues that the industry is facing, the insurance market, the issues with various matters, including client education and getting the word out. We've got agents on all three islands, St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix, equally represented, I would say, between St. Thomas and St. Croix. And we look forward to one day, post-coronavirus, to getting together in person again sometime soon, but we have been meeting by telephone and conference call periodically. So we've got a great group of professionals, many of whom have dedicated their lives to this industry and spent the better part of their life. I know both you and I have been in for decades, and there's a lot of people that have really spent a lot of time in this industry. that really are dedicated to helping out the insurance public.
Okay, thank you. And for a full listing of the insurance companies, adjusters, agents, and brokers, you may visit our website, which is viiinsuranceassociation.org, viiinsuranceassociation.org. So, are we ready now for some questions and answers? Do we have, Mark, do we have a listing of questions and answers from the public that we are ready to address?
Yes, we do. We have a question from here. I think it's from St. And it's, I would like to better understand the process for obtaining flood insurance for homes not in a flood. If the rain from a storm makes the road that sits above my house collapse, which happened on the north side, it would not be covered under my plan. I talked to a professional and they said I need an elevation survey, and the surveyor said that I did not, as I am in a flood. I think the answer to that question is, if I may, if you're if you're not in a flood zone, rather, you don't need an elevation certificate. It's known that you do need an elevation certificate. Almost all flood insurance in the U.S. Virgin Islands is written for a program called the National NFIP. It's a federally subsidized program. It's a web portal that all the brokers and agents use. Depending on the elevation or the flood zone of the property, an elevation certificate may be required. In this instance, on the top of the hill zone, you don't need an elevation certificate. That coverage should be able to be provided without it. So I can go on to another question, maybe for John. Maybe you can take this one. If I had a claim from Hurricanes Irma or Maria, will that prevent me from being able to purchase insurance from another insurer now?
Very good question. The fact that you had a claim from Irma or Maria or any other type of loss should not prevent you from procuring insurance in the future. You may want to stay with the same insurance company because they have a record of what you've gone through. They pay you a substantial amount of money. That loyalty factor is important, I believe, the connection between an insured and an insurer. I would suggest you stay with that insurance company if the experience was a good experience, and then go forward. There were so many claims throughout the Virgin Islands for Hurricanes Irma and Maria that the fact that you had a claim should not affect your ability to procure insurance at this point. It may affect the cost. Many insurers in the Virgin Islands have credits that they apply after a period of years for not presenting claims, and those credits will, of course, when you make a claim, will go away, but you can earn them back again, and that's one of the good things about our free market. With the insurance market is a free market, and competitive forces between different insurance agencies and brokers and insurance companies lead them to attach things like credits to reward those who aren't filing frequent claims. But the simple answer is no. If you file a claim, there should not be a problem procuring coverage in the future unless there's something very unusual about the situation.
Thank you, John.
Okay. Another question here. I see a percentage on my policy for. How does that work? Sandra, do you like to take that?
I didn't quite hear. Percentage on the policy for Mark?
The deductible.
Deductible. Oh, okay. Yes. So for windstorm and earthquake, yes. So your policies will always have a deductible for windstorm, earthquake that is different than your deductible for your other perils such as fire or vandalism or those types of perils. For windstorm and earthquake, it's a percentage, and it could be 3%, it could be 5, it could be 10, and that percentage is based on the sum insured of your property, okay? It is 5% of the insured value of your property or your contents or whatever it is that you're insuring. It is not 5% of the loss, as some people seem to think. It is based on the value. So you want to be very clear when you're purchasing insurance that you know what that dollar amount is going to translate to. So if it's 5%, it's going to be 5% of 100,000, and you want to make sure that that's something that you can afford in the event of a claim, okay? If not, you might want to lower it to 3%, okay? If you're comfortable and you feel that you can do with a lower premium, because your premium goes down when your deductible increases. So if you feel that you want to save a little money and you feel that you can afford a 10% deductible, you could do that, but be very careful when you're doing that. Do not try to save $1 now and then later on you get hit with a huge deductible and then you can't afford to pay that deductible. Okay, so be very clear and ask your broker to help you to work out what that dollar amount translates to when you're buying your policy. Okay?
Thank you. We have another question here. Can I buy homeowners insurance during the hurricane season? I can this one. The answer is yes. You can buy homeowners insurance during the hurricane season. The only time that would be incorrect would be when there is tropical storm watch or warning has been issued by the National Hurricane Center for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Once that happens, underwriters close up shop, and at that time, you are not able to either purchase new coverage or to raise limits or change deductibles. They just shut it down at that time. So the answer is yes, you can. Basically, if there's an active storm in the Atlantic, you may be out of luck on that one. So I have another question here regarding auto insurance. It says, my daughter just got her driver's license. Do I need to add her to my auto insurance policy, or are all drivers in my family automatically covered? John, would you like to take that one?
Sure. Well, I can't answer for every insurance company, but I know that the personal auto policy does cover most permissive drivers that you allow to use your car, although many insurers in the Virgin Islands have a restriction for drivers under age 25. And there's actually a good reason for that. In the mainland US, an insurance company will actually charge you, they'll ask you on the application, how many underage drivers do you have, who's in your household, and what they'll do is they will rate based on the exposure of those individuals that are in your household. So if you have a 16-year-old driver that may not, a 16-year-old child that may not drive, you may be charged just because you have a 16-year-old driver in that household. It can make insurance very expensive in some cases. So in the Virgin Islands, the insurers, many of them take the perspective that we won't charge for those underage drivers unless there's an intentional effort to put that person on the policy. So for underage drivers, typically the age is 25. Drivers under 25 are typically excluded from coverage under a personal auto policy. So if you have a child that is driving, it's critical that's under 25 years old, it's critical that that person be added to the policy. But generally the policy is broad in terms of the coverage it provides for other users of the vehicle. And while I'm talking about auto insurance, I'd like to make a comment. I did have a question that I wanted to try to respond to. One issue that's been problematic within the Virgin Islands since the passing of mandatory auto insurance back in, I think, 2000, is the issue of canceling auto insurance on a vehicle that is sold. If you trade in your vehicle at an established auto dealer, this may not be an issue because you may be able to delete coverage for your policy for your car after it's sold and when you're trading it in. But if you're doing a private sale on a vehicle, which the majority of vehicles seem to be sold in the Virgin Islands in private sales, the Virgin Islands law requires that the registration of that vehicle be canceled before the insurance can be canceled. Let me say that again. The Virgin Islands law requires that insurance cannot be canceled on that vehicle until the registration is canceled. If you have a car in your yard that you're not using, take the registration to motor vehicles, have it stamped canceled, and bring it to your insurance agent. The insurance agent can delete coverage from your policy. If you sell a vehicle for cash and you sign the back of the title and turn the title and the keys and the car over to the buyer, and then go to your insurance agent and said, I've sold my vehicle, I need to cancel the insurance on that vehicle, the insurance agent isn't going to be able to cancel insurance on that vehicle without knowing that the registration on that vehicle has been canceled. And believe me, it's not that the insurance agent or broker doesn't want to help you in canceling that vehicle off your policy. That's the thing they want to do most, is to take care of your request. But the Virgin Islands law does require that the registration be canceled before the insurance is canceled. We recommend that if you're selling a vehicle to a private party, that you actually accompany that person to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and have the transaction done one time, and then bring back the canceled registration so you can have the vehicle deleted from your policy. One other complicating factor right now is the Bureau of Motor Vehicles has been closed through much of the pandemic, and I'm told they're closed right now. I don't know that for a fact, but I was just told that recently. So that if you have a delay in transferring your vehicle, there may be a delay in canceling your insurance, because again, the vehicle cannot be deleted from a policy until that is transferred at Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And one interesting fact that I learned in talking to Bureau of Motor Vehicles about this, trying to address this and make it easier for our clients, is that the transaction isn't fully finalized until it's registered at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. So if in fact you sign the back of your title, even in front of a notary public, and you accept money for your car and you give the keys and the car over to the other individual, in terms of what the Virgin Islands government understands, you still own that vehicle. So when you're calling your insurance agent and broker to say, please delete that vehicle from my policy, you should think twice about that, because you, in the eyes of the Virgin Islands government, from what I'm told, still own the vehicle. So it's really important that you talk to your insurance agent or broker about the process, make sure that you get a canceled registration when you sell a vehicle, and the insurance agent or the insurance company can easily cancel the coverage, delete the coverage from the policy, whatever's required, but they cannot do it until the registration is canceled. So again, call your insurance agent and broker with this question or anything else, and they'll be anxious to help you understand your insurance better.
Thank you. I have a question that came up. I'm going to ask Director Brady to address this question actually. It's actually a two-part question. One was, how much was paid out during the Irma Maria claims? And two, can you comment on the Lloyd's transition as we've been hearing it, and there are many questions about that in the territory?
Thank you very much, President Gutierrez. A total of approximately $2 billion have been paid out in insurance claims combined for Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Again, approximately $2 billion were paid out in the U.S. Virgin Islands combined for Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Now, as it relates to the Lloyd's issue, do understand Lloyd's is not pulling out of the territory. Lieutenant Governor Tugenza A. Roach issued a press release dated July 17, 2020, where he informed the Virgin Islands community that Lloyd's is not leaving the territory. They're transitioning from what's known as an admitted insurer to a surplus lines insurer. And we will be meeting with Lloyd's to finalize that, to ensure the least complications to the policyholder. But they will remain here, and they will continue to renew policies up until July 1, to open new policies until July 1st, 2021, and then they will be extending their business beyond 2021. So do know that Lloyd's will not be leaving the territory. I wanted to add very quickly to what President Harper just said about the auto side of it. This goes with the residential mortgage loan satisfactions. That too was an issue, President Harper, that we saw after the storms, which was that persons utilize their own monies to pay off a mortgage, but there was not a recording of that payoff at the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Division of Recorder of Deeds. Please make sure that that payoff is recorded. There is a law going through the legislature now that will require the lender to file with the Recorder of Deeds office that release of the mortgage. So that, why would you ask, is this necessary? From an insurance perspective, it is necessary because if you have paid off your mortgage, you now own that property 100%. Make sure you fully insure that property even after you pay off the mortgage. That's number one. But number two, from an insurance perspective, if you do not notify, or if that payoff is not filed with the Recorder of Deeds, and you do not provide a copy of that payoff to your insurance company, if there is a claim, very well may happen that the insurance claim check will show the lender's name as well as your name as the property owner. You don't want that confusion because you now own the property in full. Any claim check should be made payable to you only. So I wanted to stress that with you. Do take care of all your business, and you've been doing an excellent job in doing so, but make sure that you take care of the cancellation of the insurance. If you sell your car, take care of the cancellation of filing of the release of lien if you pay off your mortgage. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Brady. Okay, so we're about to close this off. Time went by so fast. John, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to make?
I would like to follow up just on one thing that Director Brady said just a minute ago. In addition to making sure your mortgage is taken off, make sure that the owners of the house are current. The claim check will be made paid to whoever's on the deed, and if there are deceased members of the family that are on the deed, that creates problems. So make sure that your deed is up to date. Finally, hurricane preparedness. Check that you have the supplies you need. Check to make sure you have a family communications plan. Secure your home before a storm, but most importantly, review your insurance and talk to your insurance agent or broker about the coverage that you need.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. So, we intend to do more of these types of programs, types of outreach. Listen for us on various radio programs and talk shows as we continue to try to educate you in the very, what would seem a complex world of insurance. But it's our job, and we do take pleasure when you ask questions, and we want you to be informed. It is to the benefit of everyone when we have an informed consumer. Call your agent, call your broker, call your insurance company, contact the VIIA Insurance Association. If you have questions, go to our website or our email. And again, the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation is also available to help you with whatever questions you may have. Thank you all for joining us, and have a very pleasant day and great season, hurricane season.